All right, everyone. Thank you again for joining us for today's webinar. Like I mentioned, today's topic is how to remain agile on Amazon during the holiday season. I'm really excited about today's webinar and my co-presenter for today. I'm going to introduce him in just a second. But before I do, I want to quickly run through the agenda for today. So we're going to get started with some quick introductions. Then I'm going to pass it over to our presenter, Brian Liebman from Amify, who's going to discuss finalizing and executing on your holiday plan, and then review some tips for remaining agile throughout the holiday season. Lastly, we're going to wrap it up with some Q&A. Please feel free to submit your questions throughout the entire presentation through the questions pane inside of GoToWebinar, and we're going to handle those at the end of the presentation. I also did want to point out that today's session will be recorded and will be made available to you all most likely tomorrow once we get the recording updated or the recording uploaded. And so with that, I wanted to go ahead and quickly introduce myself and my co-presenter. So for those of you who have joined us for some FeedVisor webinars, my name is Andrew McGonigal. I'm on the marketing team here. Really excited to join you all again. I'm also joined today by Brian Liebman from Amify, who is the Chief Revenue Officer there. So Brian, if you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, I'm Brian. Super excited to be here and looking forward to it.
Awesome, thank you, Brian. And before I pass over the presentation to Brian, I quickly wanted to just mention, for those of you who are new to FeedVisor or haven't heard of us before, quickly what we do. So FeedVisor is the AI-first optimization and intelligence platform for large sellers and brands on Amazon. We really focus on the full life cycle of optimizing your Amazon presence and working with the large sellers and brands as well on Amazon. So how do we accomplish that? For those of you who have heard of FeedVisor before, you probably know us very well through our world-class algorithmic repricer. We've recently expanded that functionality to become our pricing optimization and intelligence platform. So again, this is our best-in-class algorithmic repricer that allows you to take into account all the different variables related to your business to make intelligent pricing decisions. We also are introducing our advertising optimization intelligence platform. So this is the pay-per-click campaign manager that allows you to accelerate your competitive products or your private label products and really tap into all of the intelligence that we have and big data that we have on our end to drive paid advertising results on Amazon. And lastly, and this is really the foundation of our company here at FeedVisor, is our Amazon expertise. So our customer success team operates hand in hand with you as an extension of your business, really focusing on the KPIs that are most important to you and helping you drive your business forward, focusing on your profit margin, your ACoS, all of those critical KPIs that are important to you as an Amazon seller. And before I pass it over to Brian, I did just want to quickly drop in a poll for a second for those of you who are interested in learning more about FeedVisor and our platform. So if you're interested in learning more about our pricing optimization and intelligence platform or our advertising optimization and intelligence platform, feel free to just fill out the poll here, and one of our Amazon experts will quickly get back to you with some more information. So I know if you have heard of FeedVisor before, some of this language about our product may be a bit new to you. So I know our team here would really love to show you what we've been working on and the product functionality that we've developed and recently launched. And with that, I'm going to, looks like most of you have been able to fill that out. So I'm going to close out the poll and pass it over to Brian, who's going to take over the presentation from here. So Brian, I'm going to go ahead and give you presentation controls, and you can take it away.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Andrew, for the introduction, and I'm really glad to be here today. If you guys are like me, e-commerce and merchandising fanatics, this is our Super Bowl, right? So everything we do for the better part of the year really leads up to these moments, and really excited to be speaking to you about that today. Again, just a little bit about Amify for those of you who don't know about us. We work with large lifestyle brands to ensure that they're awesome on Amazon. We do that by helping them maximize their sales, ensure that their brand positioning and listings are compliant with their brand standards, and enforce their MAP and unauthorized seller removal. Why do we specialize in Amazon? And we do that because Amazon is so big. And if we go to the next slide, I have a couple stats on here to show how large Amazon is for those of you that don't know it. And what I find most exciting and most intriguing is $320 billion in gross merchandise value. What does that actually mean? It's such a large number for most of us. We just know Amazon is really large. But when you put it into perspective, the domestic beer industry, is $115 billion, and Amazon, the platform that we're on right now, is 3 times the size of it. And the beer industry are the ones that are paying for all those expensive Super Bowl ads. So the opportunity for all of us on Amazon is great, and for that reason, plan and forethought is so important. Some of these other stats that I have in here, which I just find mesmerizing as well. 1 in 2 households in the U.S. have Prime, which means that they're likely taking advantage of free 2-day shipping. And studies have shown that 90% of people want free shipping. It's the #1 promotion that retailers are offering. Other big ones, which I just find incredible, are nearly 50% of all e-commerce is generated on Amazon. So that means that there's Amazon and everybody else. And then that goes along with product searches. So people are looking for your products on Amazon, and it just means that we need to ensure that our keywords and our ad campaigns are being optimized. And we'll get into all of that a little bit later. But on to the next slide, I have a couple more metrics just to put it into perspective. When you factor in eBay, Walmart, Target, Macy's, Best Buy, they're only about 1/3 as large as Amazon. And when you look at the amount of time that people are engaging with your brand and your products, they're engaging with that more on Amazon by almost 4 times than on all of the other sites combined. So it just goes to show that it's really important to ensure we're doing our pre-work, we're getting our brand and our product pages optimized, and we're putting ourselves in a great position to succeed in Q4. Amazon is really dominating, and clearly Q4 is when we're all going to execute against. For the most part of our brands that we partner with here at Amify, approximately 40% of all of our revenue is done the last 2 months of the year. Of course, this is category specific. If you're in categories such as toys and games or electronics, you're probably going to see even more revenue generated in the final 2 months of the year, which means that it's so important to ensure that we're maximizing against the plan that we have in place. So our plan. So here at Amify, we start working with our brand partners in the April and May timeframe to ensure that we have a solid Q4 plan in place. We also want to make sure that we're working with our brand partners to have not only a Q4 plan, but an Amazon-specific plan. A lot of the brands we work with are omni-channel, which means that they have other verticals, brick and mortars, e-commerce, big box stores they work with. Some of the folks we work with, are FBA only, and some of them are e-commerce. So everyone's slightly different, and it's really important to ensure that you have we have a tailored Q4 strategy, and we're doing that for each brand specifically. I would also, really be remiss if we didn't, talk about the changing Amazon landscape. When we used to talk to a lot of our brand partners, 2 or so years ago, a lot of them were apprehensive about Amazon. They referred to it as the Wild West. A lot of our lifestyle brands didn't want to be on Amazon. They didn't want their brands to be in the same, shopping cart as, consumables. But what's happened over the last 2 years, and I find remarkable, is that brands realize that if you don't have a strong Amazon strategy, someone else has that strategy for you, and it's likely not adhering to your brand standards. I think the great example is, I'm not sure if anybody saw the Wall Street Journal article about a month ago on Harley Davidson. Harley-Davidson is actually building out their own FBA brand store, and they're doing this because they've noticed that other people, whether they're their brick and mortar partners or it's just rogue sellers getting their product, they're selling their product on Amazon. Their listings don't look great. They're selling it below their MAP or MSRP. The listings in the brand stores don't adhere to their marketing standards, and they want to take it back. And a lot of the lifestyle brands that we work with and we talk to are really sharing the same thing, and a lot of them are saying, hey, we need to have a really strong Amazon strategy and a really strong Q4 plan. And I think that's really great. And Amazon is probably the biggest disruptor in our generation, especially in the consumer space. It's probably just as large as Netflix in the video space. And those brands that really want to pivot and ensure that they're going to be viable in the future are needing to embrace Amazon, and they're doing that by having those strong plans. One of the things that we do here at Amify when we meet with our brands is we not only have a strong plan, but we plan for contingencies. Nothing ever goes according to the original plan, as case in point here with this webinar and the screen sharing. But we want to make sure that we have those, that we're agile, we're nimble, and we have those contingency plans in place. And then I would also say that we're here in late October. Most of us have been working on a plan for several months. We're probably in the final phases of that execution plan. And that's great. For those of you that still have things to do, we probably do have a few weeks before we get into the real sales spike. But again, this is a really great opportunity to kind of glean some best practices that we'll discuss here momentarily and incorporate that into your plan. The last thing that I kind of put here, and it's worth noting, and we do this here at Amify, it helps us stay aligned and on point, is we have a morning huddle, or those in the IT world probably call it a scrum meeting. It's really 5 minutes and ensures that everything is going according to plan, and if things aren't going according to plan, we invoke those contingency plans. We identify what needs to be done, and we're really nimble about that. And I think that's super exciting, and I would encourage a lot of you guys to incorporate those as well. Important dates to know. A lot of you guys know Black Friday. Everyone knows Cyber Monday. We all focus on Cyber Week. But a couple other dates that here at Amify we've seen strong sales are not only Cyber Week, but the week after, which is referred to as Green Week. Last year, our sales for almost all of our brand partners exceeded that of Cyber Week. So I would expect you guys to see similar conversion as well. And then the rest of December is amazingly strong. Not only will you have strong Amazon sales days, but you're going to see a lot of your competitors run out of stock on or about December 8th through the 17th. It's a really great opportunity for you guys to be nimble and incorporate some additional marketing, whether they're sponsored ads or it's promotions, and really capitalize on some of the deficiencies of your competition. And then the last thing is, the last week or so of December, they really are peak mobile shopping days. People are going to get those last minute gifts, the ones that wait. Also, you see a lot of smaller items of sorts, be sold. So again, it's really important to understand what those days are and have your marketing plan aligned to where you're going to see the strongest sales. Moving on to how to do that. Here at Amify, we're really big into tech and data science. We really work with our brands to ensure that we're going to do it very smartly. I always say that brands and professional sellers invest in systems, processes, tools, and people. And we truly believe in that. There's a lot of science that goes behind what we do, specifically in inventory management and replenishment. If you're not forecasting, if you're not looking at seasonality, if you're not incorporating trends, you're likely going to have mismanagement on the inventory side of things. The same thing for pricing optimization. So there's a lot of tools out there that are really amazing and will help you stay on top of your competitors and ensuring you're using data science and machine learning to maximize margins, but also ensure that you're, staying with, that you're winning your ample share of the buy box. And then lastly, Amazon's really pushing, the promotions and sponsored ads, the headline ads and product ads. There are some really great tools that will help, you manage that. We partner with quite a few, leading or industry leading tools out in the marketplace to ensure that we're incorporating all of those key data points and, returning a high value for our brand partners. And then lastly, I would say that, whether you're, a super user, a professional user, you're just breaking into Amazon, there's some really great inexpensive Chrome plugins that I would recommend. They help you understand how much inventory you have in stock and also your competitors, so you can be nimble, understands where you're doing from a sales rank and a sales perspective. So if you guys haven't checked out some of these plugins, I would. Some of the key ones that we incorporate into our data stack is, Keepa, Jungle Scout, Ace Inspector, How Many, and there's so many others that will help you stay on top of managing your Q4 plan. As we move into managing inventory, we'll speak quite a bit about this because it really is the crux of ensuring you have a holiday plan. Just to be high level, running out of stock just means we're not going to maximize our revenue potential. We could have a great plan, but if we don't have stock, doesn't matter how great the rest of it is. And within the Amazon ecosystem, it's really hard to make up for a lost day or a lost week of stock. Your sales ranks will decline. You will lose a lot of your traction within the SEO or search engine optimization world. And then you may have to overspend on marketing campaigns just to gain traction again. So I would encourage everybody to ensure that you're managing your stock levels specifically for your top sellers, and then have contingency plans for those as well. I have in here inbound cutoff date of approximately December 14th, and that's just because I'm looking at years past. In years past, there's these great images out there of tractors and tractor trailers of product just miles long trying to get into the Amazon fulfillment centers, and they just can't because there isn't enough space. So what we do here at Amify is ensure that our last delivery date is scheduled to be December 14th, which gives Amazon a week or so to get product in before it has to ship out, for the holidays. And then lastly is, I'm not sure if everyone knows, but Amazon has tried to incorporate some new strategies this year, so those things don't happen anymore. There's the inventory performance index, which everybody's been assigned. It's a scale of 1 to 1,000. It really provides a level of how well you're managing your inventory. Amazon doesn't want to be a warehouse. They've been pretty adamant about that. They want their centers to be distribution or fulfillment centers, meaning that they want there to be high rate of turns, so people aren't keeping 6 months of product there. And for some of you guys that are manufacturing your products overseas, you're bringing tractors in the past, I understand that you would do that, but now Amazon is really making it difficult. They're not only giving you the inventory index, where if you have a score of below 350, they're really going to restrict the amount of space that's provided to you. So you can go right into Seller Central. You can see what your index is, and you can identify how much space you have. If you do have minimal space, you could always create a case and apply for more. There's no guarantee you'll get it, but it is the best way of doing it. Lastly, it's really expensive to also store product in November and December, and that's, like I said, Amazon wants to encourage everyone to send 30 to 45 days of product in. It'll turn real high, and then they can ensure that everybody's brand's product is able to be fulfilled and sold. And then lastly, Q4 is a really great opportunity to dump your overstock. Be aggressive. You're gonna have so much traffic, and there'll be a high rate of conversion on the ecosystem. So this is a really great opportunity to get really creative and really aggressive on either obsolete product or just product that hasn't moved according to your plans. Moving on, increasing our store visibility and marketing, this is really the fun stuff. So this is where most of our efforts should really be placed in Q4, while we're monitoring and maximizing or optimizing our inventory. Really ensuring that our marketing campaigns are on point is what we should be doing. So if you guys are doing it yourselves, I would have one person or a team of people focusing on your sponsored ad campaigns, ensuring that your costs are in line with your expectations, managing or monitoring your keywords and your page traffic. And then this is a really great opportunity. If you're not seeing the level of traction you want, or you could really plan incremental promotions, or your incremental promotions should already be planned, but this is a great opportunity to execute against them. Our whole goal is to ensure that we have control of the buy box. For those of you that are sole sellers, I mean, that is great. You'll have 100% of the buy box, and then your job is to ensure that you're getting people to your product pages. For those of you that are competing in the buy box, I would ensure that you're managing your pricing, you're managing your buy box percentages, and then you being really aggressive with your ad campaigns. A couple other things worth noting, and things that we should be nimble on in Q4 is our product listing. So by now, everybody should have already enhanced their products, have full image sets, videos, keywords, there, descriptions, and EBC or A+ content. But over the course of Q4, it's really important to manage and monitor the keywords, like I was mentioning before. It's also really important to ensure that you're continually testing your product pages. We use a site called Splitly. There's a few others that are very similar. They're all really good. It just tells you how people are engaging with your products, and it tells how they're engaging and what ones are better. The last two things I really want to hone in on is being mobile optimized. A lot of brands spend a lot of time focusing on optimizing their product pages, but they don't do it to be mobile optimized. And given that 59% of people that are going to interact or purchase from Amazon are doing it from a mobile device, it really would be a big disservice to your brand and your potential conversion not to have a mobile optimized listing. And those are things that you can quickly tweak, if not already done. The last thing is be responsive to product questions and monitor reviews. I was reading a study that said that over 90% of people that buy on Amazon won't purchase the item if it has less than 3 stars. If your consumers are anything like me, I pretty much read a good portion of all the reviews that are out there to ensure that it is the item that I want, that the quality is good. There's a great section on Amazon's page, which is the questions and answer sections, where you could directly respond to consumer questions and provide feedback. And all of these things create a great customer experience, and ensure that your customer is going to, not only convert, but leave you with an excellent review. On the review section of it, I recommend, or we recommend here at Amify, that you have a campaign tool that sort of reaches out to all of your consumers and says, hey, how was your experience? How's your experience with the product? And if you do have any questions or concerns, don't leave a negative review, but you can encourage them to reach back out to your customer service to help remedy the situation. And this will ensure that your reviews are higher and a better quality. The last thing is the marketing plans. A lot of the deadline-driven dates are behind us. If you're going to do lightning deals or best deals or deals of the days, you would have had to already apply and be approved for those. But there is still opportunity to be nimble with those non-deadline-driven promotions, coupons, promotions such as a buy 2 get 20% off. You can create bundles, things like that. Are really good and creative and help to increase conversion. And then also we plan discount days, so we know when we're going to have additional discount days, and we are pretty agile according to that. We depending on how much inventory we have and how much inventory some of our competitors have. Wrapping up here on the intangibles, I really encourage you guys to trust your strategy enough. you spend a lot of time on these strategies. You put a lot of effort into it. You've been working cross-functionally with your internal and external teams. So it's really important to stick to the plan. And it's also really important to understand the retail math, how aggressive you could be when you want to be aggressive. A lot of sellers don't understand all of the costs that go into selling on Amazon. It's not just the FBA fee. It's not just the referral fee. There's soft costs as well. There's the cost of returns and defectives. There's the cost of shipping product into Amazon. And the professional sellers are able to incorporate this into their overall strategies as well. A few more things to hone in on is anticipate the competition. You never want to follow. We want to be leaders in our space, and that'll help you potentially win Q4. And then I also would say is most folks forget about January. We want to continue the momentum into January. There's a lot of returns that happen in January, and also gift cards are being given as gifts. And so a lot of consumers are really going on, specifically the first and second week of January, returning product, buying new things, utilizing their gift cards for purchases. And so if you don't have inventory, you're really going to be lean at the beginning of the year. It's going to be challenging to get product in. And I know that a lot of brands like to be lean towards the end of the year from an inventory perspective, but you will be leaving a lot of meat on the bone for your 2019 year. Lastly, we're very big here at Amplify at our core values. One of our core values is to think big. I always say let's not be afraid to make the tough decisions. It goes back to getting quickly into a room for 5 minutes for our morning huddle. Getting on the phone with our brands, making those decisions that have already been incorporated into our strategy. So there really isn't anything that is unforeseen. And then lastly, I mentioned that professional sellers invest in systems and processes and tools and people. I really want to hone in on professional sellers don't really rely on hacks to build their business. Professional sellers want to do this using data science and machine learning. They have really awesome brands, and they want people to engage with those brands. So really want to encourage you guys to continue to build your Amazon strategy and do it the right way. I know we're kind of running out of time, so I just wanted to thank you guys for being here. If there are any questions, I would love to field them. I really hope everyone has a great holiday. I hope that you guys found this to be insightful and informative. And if you have any specific questions that we may not be able to get to here, you can always reach out to me. My information is at the end of the presentation, and I would love to connect with you guys.
Awesome, thank you, Brian. So for those of you who are still with us, we feel free to submit some questions through GoToWebinar. We'd be happy to take those. I know we are a couple of minutes over time, so I do want to be respectful of everyone's time, but we do want to just make sure we get to a couple of these questions here. So let's see what we have. Just one moment. I saw a good one here. Let me just make sure that I can find it. You mentioned, Brian, increasing, you talked about marketing campaigns and promotions. We also want to stay away from like the seller hacks and things like that, but what would you say are like your top suggestions for increasing product discoverability specifically during the holidays, or if that is different during the holidays?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sponsored ads, headline ads, campaign ads are really important, and managing those keywords and how you're bidding on it is super important. We have a team of people that really hone in on that, look at to see not only what our ACoS are, but also where we're not driving value and where we're losing, and figure out how to optimize that. I would say that having someone specialize and look at that is probably the #1 thing that you could do to ensure that you're getting people to your listings and you're increasing your opportunity to convert a sale during holiday.
Great. And then really good question just came in. So and I would assume that this is common for a lot of newer sellers or sellers maybe that are entering into different products. But how would you recommend someone competing against older brands who are able to gain a lot of reviews over time, or via, I think they said via giveaways, et cetera. So how would you recommend competing against a more established seller or brand?
Yeah, it's a really great question. I know that in the last year or so, Amazon has really cracked down on people providing, free gifts and things like that for reviews, but competing with them can, be a challenge. We engage with some of those feedback tools that I mentioned earlier. I think 2 or 3 of them out in the marketplace are, Feedback Genius, Feedback 5, AMZ Finder. It really encourages people without specifically asking or soliciting for a review. To reach back out to you if they've had a negative experience, or if they've had a positive experience, to share it with some of the other with the rest of the Amazon consumer base. And those are pretty powerful tools, and you'd be surprised how many people are willing to share their experience, specifically if it's positive. People like to have their voices heard, and even some of these newer brands and newer sellers are really starting to gain traction with that.
Great. And then I think this is kind of a question related to SEO for products, but someone mentioned that we know it's helpful to make sure that your keywords are optimized for a specific campaign, but does it make a difference to have those same keywords live on the listing directly?
Yeah, I absolutely would. So Amazon has an algorithm that nobody truly knows what's within the algorithm, but the more times a keyword receives a hit, the higher your score would be within that SEO algorithm. I would encourage you guys not only to have keywords, but also negative keywords, ones that are going to really drive success you want to bid on through campaigns. But having really optimized descriptions, having really optimized listings, having enhanced brand content or A+ content, a full slate of images with image sets, all of these things go into that algorithm that really would move your products up on the SEO. The whole idea is to get on the first page and then preferably above the fold. Now in Q4, it's going to be really competitive. It's going to be much more expensive than in years past, but it's really important to have a budget to be able to monitor this and just to ensure that you're maximizing the opportunity.
Great. So I think this is going to be the last one that we have time to get to today, but I saw this a few times, so I did want to get to it. You mentioned a couple of Chrome extensions, Brian, that you really like to use for testing your product pages or pulling data from Amazon via Chrome extension. Could you quickly just mention those again for those who may have missed it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, there's an absolute ton of them that are out there, but some of the better ones that that we use are for A/B testing. There's Splitly. I'll understand how your items are going to rank and or do. There's Ace Inspector. There's Jungle Scout. There's quite a few other ones. And then what I find, to be really cool is there's this Chrome extension called How Many, and what that essentially does is it allows you to see how many units your competitors have in stock, whether it's your listings or other listings as well. And you can utilize that to be nimble and how to implement and execute against some of your contingency marketing activities.
Awesome. All right, so that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you so much for those of you who joined us today, especially for all the questions. We got some great questions in here today. I also did want to thank you, Brian, for putting together a great presentation. It was awesome having you here today, so thank you for that.
Awesome, appreciate this.
Yeah, of course. And with that, we're going to wrap up the presentation for today. So again, this presentation is recorded, and you will all get a copy of it following this event. Loved having you all here today, and please make sure to join us again for our next FeedVisor webinar. All right, take care.